Okay, we have two more problem types left, and these are the most work. They're not hard, but it's the most steps. So the first type is this one. Give an equation for the circle with the center negative 5, 11, passing through the point negative 2, 6. Now, when I first read this, this doesn't really mean anything to me. So let me draw up a really crappy picture. I guarantee it's going to look horrible, but that's okay. We're all friends here, right? Okay. So x, y, let's do it like this. All right, so negative 5, 11 is the center, and it passes through the point negative 2, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So like here. Now I'm only drawing part of it, but something like this, right? So here's the center. Here it definitely contains the point negative 2, 6, so that's part of my circle. So you can imagine that it extends and goes all the way around. Okay, so now that I have a picture, I can sort of see a way ahead. For the circle problems, to write the equation, I need a center and I need a radius. Well, thankfully, I already have a center, right? They gave it to me. It's negative 5, 11. The radius is the thing that I don't have. Now, because they tell me the center and a point that is on the outside of the circle, I'm able to find the radius by using my distance. All right, so we're going to use the distance formula for this using negative 5, 11 and negative 2, 6. So R is x1 minus x2, so the difference in the x's squared plus the difference of the y's squared, all under a square root. x1 is negative 5, x2 is negative 2, y1 is 11, y2 is 6. So I get negative 3 squared plus 5 squared. So R is 9 plus 25. So root 34. So that's my R. All right, now I have a center and I have a radius, and I can write my formula. My circle formula says that r squared is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. R was the square root of 34. H is negative 5. Y is 11. Square root squared gives me the argument, so 34. X plus 5 quantity squared. Y minus 11. Again, there's nothing else to do. There's no solving to be done. We don't need to multiply out. We're going to leave it exactly like this. Okay. All right, our last problem for 3-6 is this one. So you want, oh, I didn't give you the setup, did I? Let's say give the equation of the circle with, there we go, that makes more sense. Give the equation of the circle with endpoints of a diameter 5, 5 and negative 3, 1. So again, like the last one, just reading this doesn't really mean anything to me, but if I draw a quick picture, maybe we can make some sense of it. So let's go quick sketch. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be passable. All right, 5, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And negative 3, 1. Okay, so what is a diameter? Right? There's my 2 points. The next thing we have to ask is what is a diameter? So commonly I will ask this and students say, it's a line that goes through the circle. So like this? No, that's not right. Okay, so what's wrong with that one? What's wrong with this line? What's wrong with it is it's not going through the center of the circle. So a diameter is a line that goes through the center of the circle. So and it's twice the radius, right? So that tells me that my circle is something like this, and in the middle is my center, right? Now, since the diameter is twice the radius, I know that this has to be r. Each one of these has to be r. Okay, so that's everything we need. Remember, we need a radius and we need a center. Now, for finding a center, if this center HK is in the middle of these 2 points, I'm going to use the midpoint formula. For the radius, then, I can use the distance formula. So there's only 2 steps in doing this, only one more than the last one. And it's not that hard of a problem, but it is maybe a little bit lengthy. Okay, so first let's look for the radius. We're going to use distance. Formula. Now, side note, it actually doesn't matter the order you do these 2 steps in. You can find the center and then the radius, or the radius and then the center. It doesn't matter. Just because I have radius written here first, I'm going to find the radius first. So I know that the diameter is 2 times the radius. And I know that the diameter is the square root of the difference of the x's squared plus the difference of the y's squared. Right? Okay, so x1, y1. x1 is 5. x2 is negative 3. y1 is 5. y2 is 1. So I have 8 squared plus 4 squared. So 64 plus 16, which is 0.80, root 80. So r is 2 over root 80. Now, we can probably simplify this. We actually don't need to. We don't need to worry about it. We can leave it like this. We'll simplify it here in a second. The other thing is the midpoint. Okay, so this is my radius. I'm going to have to flip the page in order to do the center, just because I wrote so big and I drew that big picture. Okay. So center, we're going to use the midpoint formula. Remember, the midpoint is the average of the x's and the average of the y's. So x1 plus x2, sorry, I forgot my x1, y1. x1 is 5, x2 is negative 3. So 5 minus 3 over 2, and then 5 plus 1 over 2. That gives me 2 minus 2. 5 minus 3 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So I have a midpoint of 1, 3. And actually, that's not that far off, right? I mean, I drew this grid myself. It's not perfect. But I estimated, here's my center that I drew. It's almost 1, 3. It's not quite, but it's about in the right spot. So that's good. That's another reason that drawing a picture is important. All right, so good midpoint. So we have a center of 1, 3 and a radius of square root of 80 over 2. So we get r squared is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared so square root of 80 over 2 quantity squared, x minus 1, y minus 3. So you square each of these, right? 80, square root of 80 squared is 80, 2 squared is 4. So I get 20 is x minus 1 squared plus y minus 3 squared. So not, individual steps on this problem are not hard. This is just distance and midpoint, but it's a little bit long, and unless you draw a picture and think about what it means to be a diameter, you might not know how to start this one. I generally don't like giving this problem on an exam because, like I said, it is long. Also, in my opinion, this is not useful. What are you going to be doing with circles if you take a higher class? What you're going to be doing is you'll be looking at a picture of a circle and giving me an equation. That's what you would do in another class. Or, given an equation, make the circle, draw the circle. That's pretty much all you do with circles in higher classes. Now there is, yeah, that's about it. That's the most important thing that I would want you to take away from this section is, given the equation, write the circle, draw the circle, or given the picture, give me the equation.